Hey there guys, how's it going? My name is Sumit Chatterjee from the Flow Zone Academy, and I'm a flow state coach, which means that I help you feel better and perform better. So my friend was asking about this idea of toxic relationships, or how to heal from a toxic relationship. And the example that he gave is like he would scratch a lot, which would make him bleed, and from the eczema that he got, he wouldn't text back immediately, or the girl would get angry in a certain context. What to do when that happens? So first of all, eczema is related to anxiety and also how you're thinking about things, and also your diet and things like that. So because a lot of anxiety can come from relationships, and the reason why is because relationships is associated with our survival, right? Our survival and reproduction, like how we survive in the world. And so when we feel like we're not surviving, or we feel a sense of loss, it's also a loss of our self-image with that other person, but also it's a loss of the certain kind of persona which we created. First of all, you want to really clearly understand that red flags don't look like red flags through rose-colored glasses. They just look like flags, right? So when we are feeling emotions for somebody, we often don't see their red flags. We're seeing it through our own perception of being so in love with them that we don't see the wrong things that they're doing. And we're like, yeah, I'll give them another chance, but they still keep doing the same thing over and over again. And you keep telling them, like, look, okay, I don't want this to happen, and at the end of the day, they can try to change, but that change has to come from them, right? I understand what you're going through, because I've personally gone through a couple of toxic relationships in my life too. And what I would say to you is, first of all, see what was toxic about it. You know what I mean? Like, just hearing that term, it doesn't really do you any service. This is just my perspective. So first of all, here's some common indicators, right? The constant contact. Constant contact means they're going to call you and text you a lot, and they're constantly on your mind, and so they always expect you to get back to them right away, which you're mentioning about, them texting you back immediately. You feel like something's not right, but you're not sure why. Something just seems off. It may even feel like you have to investigate because something feels off. Or you feel like you're walking on eggshells, or you can't really be your authentic self around them. The third thing is, they start out seeming like your soulmate, and then they change. Let's say they pair bond with you in the beginning, right? They share personal information with you. They say, oh yeah, we've had similar past traumas, likes or dislikes, and you find a way to bond with them, which leaves you thinking, oh man, I have so much in common. And the differentiator here is you want to take care of them even at the expense of helping yourself. And they love bomb you, and then they find fault with you. So which means they come on with very strong loving emotions and words that they turn on, and then they make you feel bad for the things they claim that they love about you. I'll give you an example. Oh, I love your beard. It's the most mesmerizing thing. I love it so much. Then in an argument, she'll bring up, I hate that prickly beard. It pokes me, whatever, right? So this is an example. It's a very minor example, but you can kind of understand what this kind of love bombing is, right? Because this unpredictable behavior actually creates an addictive response in the brain. So what you're going through in a toxic relationship and moving out of it is actually an addiction. It's straight up the same faculty of addiction, because we can get addicted to negative emotion just like we can get addicted to Adderall. All right, it's still an addiction. So this is how I want you to see it. All right, this is the reason why we get into gambling, right? It's this maybe. It's like, I might win or I might not win. It's a 50% probability, and that gets us addicted to it. It's that dopamine hit. It's like they're not always rewarding you for the good behaviors, and then they're sometimes punishing you for the good behaviors. It's like, what's happening here? And you get confused and you get wrapped up in that. You're always feeling like you're doing things for them, and you're twisting things around until you feel like you can no longer trust your own memory or your perception. That gaslighting makes you feel so much confusion that it makes you feel wrong, and it makes you doubtful of your own abilities and yourself. They might seem quote unquote spiritual, but they present a different picture to you. All right, sometimes you move into, let's say, you go into a yoga studio and you feel like, man, this is a loving, accepting, healing place. This is not going to be there, right? But you never know. Red flags can apply to anybody. Whether they, meditate or do yoga or whatever kind of love and light, blessed be, beloved thing that they're doing, right? It doesn't take away from that fact, right? These are facts. Gut issues, solar plexus, third chakra. Hormone issues, second chakra. Bones, skin, joint issues, first chakra. So, skin, right? Eczema, first chakra. Meaning what? She's got you ungrounded. She's got you ungrounded, straight up. She's got her idealistic way of how a relationship should look like, and she's getting angry, and she has all these boundaries and rules and all this kind of stuff, maybe. And I don't know her. I don't know her, so I can't tell you that. But she's got you ungrounded. So it's time to get grounded as a man, right? It's time to... Oftentimes, people will also exit that relationship, and they'll start to say that you were the toxic one, right? They'll run a smear campaign against you. It's meant to discredit you, but it's also meant to teach you to cultivate faith. Have faith that the truth will always win, no matter what. So what is your truth? What is your truth in that relationship? How can you cut the emotional cord? Realize that you aren't connected. If you guys have had sex or sacred energy exchange, or what I say is like, yeah, your emotional body and DNA and genes kind of mixed up, right? Sometimes those people's emotions get wrapped up in our emotions or our energetic bodies, and this is going very spiritual here in this direction, but, often take this grain of truth, understand that it's something deep, right? It's unity, it's a commitment, it's a connection to somebody. So, oftentimes you'll notice like you are getting their energy off of them. And when you leave the relationship, you still feel this kind of oxytocin and dopamine because, in your mind, the pair bonding is saying like, yeah, they're supposed to be the mother of my kids, right? So I've got to protect them. So you feel this kind of split mind, right? Your biology is telling you this woman is supposed to be a part of your life and you love them and all this stuff. But then all the actions that they're taking is not like you would want in a future mother at all. And so you feel like this split mind, right? It's like this kind of feeling of like not wanting to confront it, and you feel almost like a passive aggressiveness, right? They will take something that is so important to you and they'll ruin it for you. And at first, breaking away from a toxic relationship, I would say get isolated and be with yourself a lot, and start to understand yourself really, really well. Because only then can you understand yourself. For all those years that you were in a relationship together, it taught you a lot, but it also taught you a lot about each other. But it didn't teach you enough about your own inner work and yourself. So if you can keep a daily practice of actually healing your heart specifically. So what I would do, right, if I were you, and I've had to do this process myself now, because I've had to cut out of a relationship too, is, connect with your heart. Your heart is the remote control, okay? And so really, really connect with your heart and be able to imagine you cutting the cord from all of these connections around you. Now, that doesn't mean you're not protective of them, you don't care about them. Like, let's say you're cutting away from your parents, right? It doesn't mean you don't care about your parents. It doesn't mean you won't protect them when time comes for it. It just means you're not gonna keep on being attached to that frequency. You know what I mean? Because attachment comes from a frequency of fear, straight up, and that's where the anxiety comes from, my friend, Anxiety is just the fear of not getting enough, not having. And what is scratching supposed to do? There's an itch. An itch is a discomfort with the body, right? Scratch my itch is used as a term that represents a feeling of discomfort and then peace afterwards. I'll get them to scratch my itch. It's like I have a desire, right? And that desire is not being fulfilled. So I'm harming myself because it's better than the numbness that I've been kind of confronting. Maybe you've been through a lot of shock and trauma in that relationship, right? But it might be coming through as just numbness that you're showing to the world, like, yeah, man, whatever. So what I would say is, go deep into that shock. Go deep into that confusion. Be like, what the hell did I go through? And really confront that. And forgive yourself for what you did as well as forgive her. And, that is important too. But forgiveness is a gift to yourself. Even when you're forgiving her, you're letting go of you want to end it clean. And I got this from a coach that I was working with. And he told me, man, just reach out to this girl and just tell her, how you feel and like how you need to reach out to her for your own healing. Like, don't hold it all in and like block her and like, all that stuff. I mean, that is important. Sometimes you got to do that when it gets too out of hand and you want to keep to your boundaries, of course. But at the same time, if it helps for you to speak about it and be like, yo, you made me feel like this in the relationship and I didn't appreciate it and I just wanted to let you know. I don't care what you have to say to this. I'm not looking for any kind of response from you. I just need to say this for myself. And as I say this for myself, it's for my own healing. It's not for you. Please hear me out. I just need to get this off my chest. And that's what it feels like, right? This feeling in your chest. It's like this feeling that's holding you back. But when you say it's in the language, my friend, it's going to reveal to you how you can heal from this relationship. How do I get this off my chest? Well, you get it off your chest, right? You're holding it within your heart. You're creating a heart wall. You're creating a barrier that you're afraid of. Like, what if I get into a next relationship and the same cycle repeats itself, right? But until you forgive yourself, until you sit with yourself and like be compassionate and heal, and healing doesn't look the same for everybody. You know what I mean? Healing does not look the same for anybody. Your healing can look very different. It could be watching anime at 3 a.m. and like, you know, doing jumping jacks. That could be a healing for you. Whereas for somebody else, they need like to get the sage out or whatever. You know what I mean? So never look at all these other people and be like, oh man, my healing has to look like this. Though I would say doing something physical is very important because, you know, for a relationship, you want to get back in tune with yourself. And when you can get back in touch with your own body again, man, and learn to love it again, it's like in that relationship, you might have had like maybe body shame issues or certain things like that. Like I would get into really feeling confident, comfortable with my body. You know what I mean? Like that's what I would be working on. Whatever the issues were that were insecurities or, you know, that made her angry or had certain projections about you, just see it for the truth that it was, not for the exaggeration that it was. Because a lot of the times we see it as the drama, but it was actually an expression. And when we can come back to that neutrality and be like, okay, like for instance, you know, I'll give you an example. I'm getting really personal here on this video, but you know, one of my exes, she loved to clean things. She's very hygienic. I mean, I was never really a hygienic person, you know. I was a creative person, so I'd leave little messes here and there, and that would always trigger her, right? And so later on in my life, I started to notice that, you know, my hygiene is important too, but it was done in such an exaggerated way. I know it was for my well-being, but it felt like it was selfish in a way. You know, she was doing it for her own benefit, and she wasn't looking at my side of this thing. And maybe it wasn't even about the hygiene, or it was just a projection. So the thing is, a lot of the times people are projecting onto you. It's not about you, it's about them. You not texting them back, that's their insecurity. But you're taking their insecurity and then you're scratching yourself, which is a way that you process that insecurity that is being projected onto you. It's like someone taking a hot coal and putting it into your hands and be like, hey, take care of this. It's not mine anymore, but I want you to have this. You're like, ow, 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 what do you want me to do with this? Ow. What you gotta do to heal from it, man, is you gotta drop that. You gotta drop that hot coal on the ground and be like, this is not my responsibility. Straight up. The word here in terms of biochemistry is release, okay? I want you to release and let go. So if you hold on to things instead of releasing things, they move in. So what exactly can you do to heal? Well, you've got to give yourself time. Of course, time itself does not heal. Time makes you forget. It's what you choose to do in that time that heals. So I would highly recommend, as I mentioned earlier, heart breathing, okay? Bioenergetic shaking or movement of any kind. Get really in touch with your body again because that's going to help your groundedness. Also, I would highly recommend that you help somebody else who is also going through a toxic relationship and you help them to heal. We teach best what we most need to learn, okay? And you'll notice a lot of trauma facilitators have gone through the most trauma, okay? Or the people who are relationships coaches have gone through all sorts of relationships, okay? So my advice to you is, you know, just like I'm healing my relationships through recording this video, what you can also do is help people out who are going through a situation which might even be worse than yours. And that will be giving you a lot of perspective. And perspective, I feel like, is extremely healing. So try and help your friends out who maybe they're stuck in a relationship that they don't like, or you know yourself the best, and so you can try and help them. And by getting you to help them, you're also going to be able to heal yourself because you are getting the ball rolling. You're paying it forward, in a sense. You know, that's my advice to you. I hope this video was helpful to you. Have an amazing day. May the flow be with you. Stay legend.